Guys, hello, it's time to take a quick dump because we have it on good authority that you shouldn't be on the toilet for longer than 12 minutes. So we've created these lovely little mini episodes for you to listen on the loo. And if the episode finishes and you have not done your shit, you have to leave.
You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the hell out of that cubicle.
Loo. And who better to join us than Sophie Medlin, poo queen, colorectal dietitian by our official professional name.
And the person we would go to when we have any question around gut health.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
And that is actually true because when I saw Sophie today, I said, "Hi, Sophie. I've been a bit constipated. I can feel it in my womb. Would that be correct?" And you're like, "Yeah, well, some people feel it in their back and womb." And Sophie always just says it's such a calm response, like, "Yeah, you could do that." I did Google it and got some strange things. So.
I bet. And do you know what? My inbox in my WhatsApp is full of my friends going, "This has happened to my poo. What should I do about it?"
Yeah. And pictures, etc.
Preferably not pictures.
Right. Gut issues. I think there was a new stat out that now, you think it used to be 1 in 4 people had gut issues. I think now it's nearer 40%, which is mental.
Yeah.
What are the signs, symptoms, red flags of gut issues?
So I think most importantly, anything that is not normal for you or uncomfortable for you is something to go and chat to somebody about, because what's normal for me won't be what's normal for everybody else. So if we think about what's normal to start with, we want to be thinking about no more than 3 times a day and no less than 3 times a week. So alternate days, essentially having your bowels open. So as long as that's what's always been the case for you and doesn't change, that's absolutely fine. When we think about stool form, we want it to be kind of that sausage-shaped poo, nothing that's too loose, nothing that's too hard. We don't want those kind of concrete-shaped poos, which are hard to pass. Exactly, yeah.
Maltesers, punamis.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think what we need to think about is, like, if you are getting uncomfortably bloated, that's not ideal. But if you're getting a bit bloated after meals, that's completely normal and fine. We don't want to see any blood in the poo, and we don't want to see lots of mucus, so white stuff or yellowy stuff on a regular basis. So ultimately, we are all different. Also worth saying, completely normal to fart. Absolutely normal.
How many times a day is it?
I can't remember. It's like 45 or something, isn't it?
I mean,
I'm not like ashamed of it, but I don't really maybe I just do it all in my sleep, because that seems like quite a high number.
I think it's quite a high number. Yeah.
It's not if it counts if you go, is that 3? Or is that 1?
Good question. Don't know.
I'm just imagining, security guards have clickers on the door. You could just have your own fart clicker.
Maybe we could add that to the app.
Oh yeah,
a fartometer.
Fartometer. Okay, yeah, deal.
It's not a target though, Lisa. It's just
You're winning.
Yeah, it gets to 11:59, and I'm like, I've got my quarter hit.
Yeah. So then, bring it back to subject.
Yeah, so we've only got 12 minutes, for God's sake.
When we think about things to look out for, I would say, obviously, if there's any change in your normal bowel habit, that's something, especially if it lasts for more than 2 weeks. Everyone gets constipated occasionally. Everyone has loose stools occasionally because
after a big heavy night out.
Sure, curry, classic, fine, normal. But if it lasts for more than 2 weeks, go and see a GP and tell them you've had a change in bowel habit. That's the language to use. If you see blood in the loo when you've been for a poo or when you're wiping, then we want to go and see the GP. It's almost always hemorrhoids or a fissure, which is like a tear, but it could be bowel cancer, and so it's always worth getting that ruled out, whatever age you are. Unfortunately, bowel cancer is becoming more common in younger people, so we need to be vigilant with that at whatever age. Mucousy stuff, we want to get that checked out. Sometimes that's fine and normal, but sometimes it can be a sign of inflammation in the poo and the bowel. And then if you are getting uncomfortably bloated and it's kind of affecting your day-to-day life, it's making you miserable, then definitely see the docs. And also, I think, if you can feel any lumps or bumps in your tummy, if you can feel anything that's kind of discomfort, ongoing discomfort that you can't put down to anything else, that's something to look out for. But anything that's different for you is a change that you're worried about, that's making you uncomfortable, really important to go to the docs. And I think incontinence, fecal incontinence, poo incontinence is way more common than we think it is. People need to try and really hard not to be embarrassed about it, to go to the doctor and talk about it, because particularly after the menopause, good old menopause causing all these troubles and things like that, after difficult childbirths.
Women are incredible.
Women are incredible. Because I didn't realise that fecal incontinence was a thing. I thought it was just wheeze, of which I basically
I pee myself all the time.
All the
good
time.
old childbirth.
Yeah. Probably in this next 12 minutes.
Yeah, fecal incontinence is way more common than people think it is. And, I think in some parts of culture, like men might laugh about it because it's after they've had loads of beers and it's one of those things that happens. But for some people, it can literally paralyze them and keep them in the house for the rest of their life. And it's something, if we talk about it and we destigmatize it and people know you can get help for it, then hopefully things will get better.
Yeah, sharting, etc.
Yes.
And I think it's important to tune in as well. I think, like, even, you know, I know when I'm thinking about it, or someone asked me, when did you last poo? What number was it on the Bristol stool chart, for example? I'm like, I actually have no idea.
Yeah.
And I own a gut health company. And I think that's why we sort of had the part of the tracker in the app, like the log your logs. Because sometimes when the beauty of the ghost ones is that actually you look down and they're gone. And it's a one wipe and they are the actual best.
Alana's always, like, Alana's like so regularly. You do like same time every morning. Out it comes.
I just
like
love
this
them. One white, the
so
one white
you,
ones. They're
like
so good.
steady, measured. Whereas I feel like I'm fucking constipated in my womb. That's just, you know.
Are you eating your kiwis?
No, I need to have kiwis. Because I actually did think that at 3 a.m. this morning. I was like, I need, what's it called? A thingy evacuation?
Manual evacuation?
Spontaneous
evacuation.
You don't want a manual evacuation.
Yeah, no.
What's that? Hand up.
Fingers up your bum, yeah.
Fingers up the bum.
Fingers up the bum. Yeah, no, I'll try the kiwis first.
I'm not doing it for you.
No, Alana did
yourself.
send me pictures of her hemorrhoids, which I've probably still got in our WhatsApp chat.
I'm sure I spoke about them in another episode.
Yeah, happy hemorrhoids.
Colours of poo. So I know everyone always thinks, yeah, of course, your poo is brown, but you can actually have different colours of poo, can't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And they can be really good signs of what's going right or what's going wrong with absorption. So it's a really great clue for me when I'm working clinically to say, what sort of colour are we talking? So normal would be like a mid-brown colour, like a concrete type colour, I would say. And then some people say, yeah, a bit darker maybe.
Like Lisa's birthday socks. She's just showing
I just showed them because they actually stink. Wow. Like they smell like poo and they're the colour of poo.
So yeah, like a mid-brown colour is what you're looking for. If it's a bit lighter in colour and you know you've eaten, like, for example, loads of sweet potato or had a weird smoothie that's a funny colour, fine, you can expect that for a few days. But if it's pale, like a sandy colour or like a clay colour, we might say, then that's something to have a look at, because it could be that you're not producing enough bile or bile's not mixing with your poo properly for whatever reason. It can also be a sign of malabsorption of other things, pancreas not working properly, for example. So really important to get that checked out. Normally, I should say, if your poo is pale in colour, normally it's very loose and you're probably losing some weight and it's very smelly and there's other signs that something's not quite right. So just having pale poo isn't necessarily something to worry about, but definitely if it's changing, go and see your doc. If it's very, very dark in colour, then we worry as well. So particularly if it's dark, really black and tarry, that can be a sign that there might be some bleeding higher up in the digestive tract. So old blood will be, dark, tarry type stool, so sticky. And something that's almost an emergency situation. So you need to go straight to the hospital. Almost never fatal, but definitely needs to be sorted out immediately. And then sometimes they can be greeny colour. Sometimes that's because of an infection. Sometimes that's because there's too much bile in your digestive tract. And sometimes that's because you've had a green smoothie and that's okay. Or that you've had like a blue bubblegum flavoured ice cream. My mum rang me and was like, so my mum rang me and she was saying to me that my niece's poo was bright green. What should she do? What's going on? I was like, what is she eating that's blue, mum? She's eating something blue. Mum was like, no, she hasn't eaten anything blue. And then she called me the next day and said, yeah, she had a bubblegum ice cream yesterday. That'll do it. So those kinds of things. I think that's the sort of main spectrum of colours that people can look out for. But yeah, that kind of nice mid-brown colour is what we're aiming for.
And what about the floaty ones?
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
To float or not to float?
When they're floaty, generally it's because they've got lots of gas in them. So it's probably just that your gut bacteria are having a great time. Sometimes people...
Sign of a good party.
Yeah, exactly. They're having a great party in there. Sometimes it's because actually if stools are floating and they're difficult to flush away, sometimes it can be that there's too much fat in the stool, which again is something that needs to be checked out.
Right, okay.
So you touched on smell there. I know everyone is probably going to say, oh, all poo smell. But how, is there like a sliding scale? Is there a specific smell that we should look out for that's maybe a bit of a red flag, or is everyone's smell different?
I mean, everyone's a bit different, but I would say the question I ask my patients is, do you think your poo is particularly foul smelling? And I would ask the same about their gas. And that tells me something about, so if they're not absorbing all of their food, then poo is really smelly. If they're not absorbing fat, it can be really, really smelly. And the way to sort of think about that is, would you be super embarrassed if someone went into the toilet after you, or are your family and friends saying, wow, that's a problem? And sometimes it's just that you've not got the right balance of bacteria in your gut, and that the ones that produce methane and sulfur, the things that make our poo smelly, those are the guys we don't want to be feeding too much. And generally, when we eat like a meat feast pizza,
out the party
problem. Yeah, we want to reduce their numbers by stopping feeding them what they like to eat. And generally, poo can be smellier if you've had loads and loads of meat to eat, for example, because you're feeding the ones that produce methane and sulfur. So there are things to look out for, but the question to think is my poo particularly foul smelling? Like, would it clear a room? Would I be super embarrassed doing it in public ever? Because people would be. And that's the kind of, sometimes I ask that question, people go, and whenever they go, I think it's not, you're fine.
Yeah. And would that be the same for burping? Because a lot of people have like heartburn, gassy, burpy.
Yeah. So we would worry about like really smelly burps, definitely. Obviously, if you've just eaten, I don't know, some tapas that's been really garlicky or something, your burps are going to smell bad. But if it's something that goes on and it's all the time, then we would want to get that checked out, yeah.
And I know we're jovial when we talk about poo, especially on this podcast. I think we have to be in a part of the mission of the podcast is to break that poo taboo, because it is so important for us to look at our poo, isn't it? It's like such a good indicator of our overall health.
Yeah, definitely. And being aware of what's going on is really important. Your poo will tell you every day whether it's happy with what you've eaten or it's not. And it's a good sign to look out for.
On that note, do your
Turn
poo.
around, look in the toilet.
Maybe wipe your bum first.
Do you?
Would you wipe your bum first? Stand up. Wipe. Yeah, you'd wipe your bum, then you stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wipe your bum, stand up, have a wee look. Take a picture if you want to take a picture.
But don't send it to me.
But don't send it to Sophie.
Send it to me, I'm quite interested.
Flush it, walk away. We'll see you next time.
Make sure you wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Of course.
Wash your bloody hands.